Hi, my name is Nikhil Kapgolkar. Welcome to my course, Making a MetaHuman Playable using the third-person template. I am a writer-filmmaker, hence the poster, and I'm also an Unreal generalist and an Unreal authorized instructor. All of which is to say, I love Unreal Engine. I use it in all my work, in my narrative work. I use it to create shots using virtual production. I use mocap. In fact, a couple of shots are in this film as well. This course has been updated from Unreal Engine 5.5 to 5.7. So if you purchased or enrolled in the original version, you'll find that the core concepts, inheritance, composition, blueprint class hierarchies, player control of possession, library targeting are all still here and still intact. Those sections haven't changed because the architecture hasn't changed. What has changed is how you get a metahuman into your project in the first place, and there are some meaningful new tools in 5.7 around retargeting that we'll cover when we get there. Now, let me be very clear with you about this. To make a MetaHuman playable using the third-person template is easy. There's a ton of tutorials out there. You can follow 5 steps.
Use the third-person template. Make MetaHuman a child of Quinn's mesh. Set up live retargeting. Turn off visibility on Quinn's mesh. Select always tick and refresh bones.
And you can get it working. So if that's what you want, you don't need to go through this course. But here's the problem with that approach. The moment something doesn't work, the moment you get an unexpected result, or the engine updates, or your project is set up a little bit differently, you're stuck, right? When I follow steps, but I don't know how those steps work, when something doesn't go the way it's supposed to, I don't know what to look at, what to change, or sometimes what question to even ask. I can certainly use Claude and ChatGPT, and there's so many tools right now, but sometimes you have to know the question to ask. And that suggests that you need to have an understanding of how things work, and that's what this course is really about. We're going to use making a MetaHuman playable using the third-person template as a goal, but the real underlying goal for this course is to actually build the understanding that's going to help you ask the right question when things don't go as planned. What we're going to do here in this course is to really dive into the aspects of Unreal Engine architecture, some of its various components, and some of the wiring that goes on behind the scenes, using blueprints, the character movement component, the add-in graph, the event graph. We're going to talk about inheritance and composition, and how those become the key to making a MetaHuman playable using this particular method of starting with the third-person template. Now, do you have to use a third-person template to make a MetaHuman playable? No. But it's going to give you a head start, and it's going to allow us to focus on some of the architectural aspects instead of getting into the nitty-gritty of what you'd need to set up to make a MetaHuman playable without using the third-person template or the third-person character blueprint. Can you make a MetaHuman playable using fully custom animations and a bespoke state machine built specifically for the MetaHuman skeleton? Absolutely. In fact, that is what a lot of game development companies would be doing, because that is a premium tier way of making a MetaHuman playable, right? It's a completely valid approach. You build your animation library, you set up your own state machine, and your MetaHuman animates in a very optimized way. But that approach is outside the scope of this course. Now, this is not a basic Unreal Engine course. I recommend completing the prerequisite courses at the Epic Games Unreal Online Learning Portal before diving in. All right, let's get into it.